Thank you for singing with us. It was beautiful just to hear voices raised to heaven. If you're just now joining us, my name is Beth. I'm part of the team here. And tonight is a night of celebration. Tonight is the night that we have picked as the theme, Tell Me the Story, because that's what Christmas is. It's the telling of the story. Everything from the backdrop that you see behind you, the kids' videos, to what we're going to be talking about now, all center around this idea that there is one story that is above all others. And I love the lyrics of the last song that we just sang, Little Town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie. Above thy deep and dreamless sleep, the silent stars go by. Yet in thy dark streets shineth the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. Those are really big lyrics. The song claims just that all of our hopes, all of our fears, all of the uncertainty and difficulty in the human condition, all of the things that we struggle with in life, find resolution, find healing, find hope in Jesus and what he did for this world in coming to earth to save us. All the way back from the very beginning, when Adam and Eve took of the fruit of the tree that we call the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, ever since that time, humans have been doing just that. We've been trying to determine for ourselves what is good, what is evil, what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad. And here's the reality. We're not really doing a very good job at determining what those things are. Because the reality is it was never meant to be our job. Finite creatures were never designed to make wise and infinite decisions. Let me give you an example. When I was 10, we were at home one summer, my sisters and I, and my dad worked one block up at the church right up the road, and so we could be at home by ourselves for a few hours. And we were there one day, and I had decided that I really wanted a cookie. And I knew my dad loved to make cookies, so I knew there was frozen dough in the freezer just waiting to be eaten. So I thought, yes, I'm going to go get some dough, and I'm going to make a cookie. So I pull some dough out, and I'm looking at it, and I was like, I don't want lots of cookies. I just want a cookie. So I don't really want to bake it. I don't want to turn the oven on. That feels like too much work. I don't want to do that. I'm going to take this cookie dough. I am going to stick it on a plate, and I'm going to put it in the microwave for 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, I'm calling my dad. Dad, there's smoke, and it's billowing, and it's black, and the fire alarms are going off, and I don't know what to do. He comes rushing home, and he carries out the microwave out into the backyard, and he sets it down, and he opens the door, and he goes, "Congratulations, you made a hockey puck." We don't make good decisions. We tend in our humanness to make any choices that will satisfy my needs right now. I'm going to determine what's perfect, what's good. And that's mine to decide, regardless of whatever else is going on around me. And you know what? Food has continued to play a part in my life. And in the Stockett household, we have lots of conversations around food. And one of those things is an ongoing battle that Jeff and I have over what's the best type of apple. Now, Jeff is a huge Honeycrisp fan. Any Honeycrisp fans? Yep. I'm a huge Fuji fan. Oh, see, first service was like, oh. But there's all sorts of different kinds. Did you know Opal is a type of apple? Anyone an Opal fan? I didn't know that until Jeff brought it home. But we have Golden Delicious, we have Red Delicious, we have Fuji's and Galas, and all of these things based on the way that we're wired are perfect to us. That's the one I want. That's perfect. It's crisp. It's the right color. It's the right sweetness. And I think about the argument that Jeff and I can have over the type of apple that we're going to eat, and how we tend to do that in our humanness with everything. See, I'm going to base all of my attention and time on my career. And that's what's going to be perfect. It's going to be everything. That's what I'm going to do. And it's going to be right. And that's good. That's where my focus is going to be. I'm going to put all my focus on how good I am at something, whether that's a sport, whether that's a hobby. And that, if I can just be good enough, then that will be perfect. It'll be perfect. I'm going to put my focus on my looks, on my family, on who I love, on what I know. And I'm going to put all my time and all my energy into that. And do we see the problem? Is that perfection, goodness, if we're basing life this way, is all in the eyes of the beholder. But what if real life, what if true perfection and wholeness and healing looks like none of these? That none of these are what God actually intended for us. What if the only way to have wholeness and perfection and healing is through the one who himself is perfect? What if he gets to determine what is good? What is the real way to heal the brokenness of this world? And what if that way is so outside of the box, so different that it doesn't make sense to us? And if I look at the story of Christmas, of all the factors that surround this story, I have to be honest, there are things about it that don't make a lot of sense to me, that don't look like a perfect solution to all of life's problems. It's hard for me to grapple with the reality that God had to come himself. As he says on the cross, it is finished. That he had to come and conquer death and the grave. Why couldn't he have just sent someone else? That feels like a dent in the plan, that perfect plan. Why did he have to come as a baby? A helpless baby. What can they do? That seems like a dent in the plan. This perfect thing that's going to save. That doesn't seem pretty to me. That he has to come helplessly. That he has to come in a way that is poor and lowly. This will be a sign to you. You will find the baby wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger. How is a king supposed to rule if he comes in this way without the weight of earthly authority to back him up? See, that seems like a dent in the perfect plan. Why did he come to a family structure that wasn't even a family structure yet? That Joseph, her husband, who is not husband in the way that we know husbands to be, they were engaged, was a righteous man and did not want to expose her to public disgrace when he found out she was pregnant, had in mind to divorce her quietly. Why? If he came to bring wholeness and healing to the things that are broken, why did he come in such a way? That seems strange. Why did he come to a little town in the middle of nowhere? Why didn't he come sooner? Why didn't he come later? Why is there still so much pain and hurt and brokenness in this world? And on and on and on. It may not look pretty. It may seem imperfect, incomplete. But what if that's because we're looking at it with our human eyes? Human eyes that can't even decide what actually is good and right. What if the Lord, who is perfect, deemed this as the perfect way to save us? And because he is perfect, there was no better way than for him to come, to walk this earth, to live a humble life, to teach those around him, to change the very fabric of humanity, to die a sinner's death, and to conquer the grave so that we can live. There was no other way that it was going to work. That's the story of Christmas in its humility and its simplicity. It is a wonderful, beautiful story that all the way back from the very beginning, in Genesis chapter 3, we read that Adam and Eve took of the fruit, they ate of the fruit. All of a sudden, there was shame, there was fear, there was guilt. Jesus enters the picture, and before he even begins to talk about what the ramifications were of the choices that they made, before he even got there, before he said, you know what, women, you're now going to struggle in childbirth. Men, you're going to struggle to till the land. Men and women, you're going to be at odds with one another constantly. Before he even got there, the first thing he does is talk about the plan of redemption. That through the line of Adam and Eve would come one who would crush the head of the serpent. The first sign of the gospel, all the way back in the beginning. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. And what if he gave us a way to hear the story, to interact with the story, to know the story, to tell the story, to help us understand it? What if this is meant to be told? Because every single time we hear it and interact with it and see it, what may seem as imperfect to us becomes a little bit more clear, a little bit more solid, because we can trust the one who wrote it, who said it. This is a story worth telling. I just ran across this recently. I thought this was really interesting. This whole idea of the most common words. If you look at the original Greek and the original Hebrew, what are the most common words you see in the Bible? Well, the first one is Lord. And God, turns out it's a story about him. And what's the third one? The third most common word that we see in the Bible is the word said. It's a story that's meant to be told. It's a story that's meant to be received. It's living, it's real life. That's good news. It is the Word. In the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of men. That light shines in the darkness, but the darkness has not understood it. That's good news. That he came as a baby. That while they were there, the time came for a baby to be born. So she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths, and she placed him in a manger. That's a story that the world needs to hear, because it truly is perfect. And each time we read it, each time we put ourselves in this place, in this context to receive it again, we're reminded that it's his idea of perfection, not mine. It's his idea of what is good and what is right, that we're to see the world through his eyes, that this story is a living, active adventure, that there is joy in it for those who are willing to see life for more than what we have made it out to be. That's the hope that we have this Christmas. That for the people who are living in the moment the story took place, that just like them, this is a story for us. That Jesus came, that he walked this earth, that he did what no one else could do, and he healed all that was broken, and he will come again. And so we celebrate a gift, a fresh way of seeing reality, and a real resolution to all of our hopes and all of our fears, as we just sang. Our goal is not to be the perfect preacher up here. Our goal is not to be the perfect worship team. See, these are our ideas of what's good. Our goal is simply to be a people all together from every age, every stage, every walk of life who are part of hearing the story and telling the story of Jesus' birth, life, death, and resurrection in our own unique way. In the way that he has created us to be part of a people redeemed and saved through him who is worthy. That is the good news of the gospel. That's what we celebrate. That's what we are launching into tomorrow with the 12 days of Christmas, is the joy and the celebration of the ultimate and best story there ever was. And so as we head into these next few songs, we're going to do something very simple, but it's a visual representation. It's a way to just show the story in another way. We're going to light candles as we sing. There are candles underneath your seats. Parents, you may have received a tea light as you came in through the door. That just as the message of Christ's birth spread from person to person, so too will we share the light from person to person as we sing. So if you can grab your candle, if you can stand with me, we are going to start in the back. We're going to work our way forward. I'll come up through the middle, and then you can pass it on down the rows. Please, please turn your unlit candle to the one that's lit, not the other way around. Because we are going to light these, we are going to sing together to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords as we proclaim his story.